Hey everybody, so I am back again with the next series in our playlist series. This one is specifically going to be talking about safer sex. The last one we did was all about anatomy, sexual anatomy, penises, vaginas, vulvas, testicles, things like that. If you haven't seen that one yet, definitely go check it out. Like and subscribe to our Planned Parenthood of Central and Western New York YouTube page and our Facebook page. That way you can get updates and notifications about all of our new videos that are coming out. So this series that we're going to do next about safer sex will take maybe a week and a half-ish to cover everything that I want to cover. And we're going to do it in shorter videos. We're going to try to keep these videos 5 to 10 minutes long. They might get a little bit longer based on the topic, but for the most part, we're going to try to keep them on the shorter side so they're easily digestible. So what are we going to talk about in these videos? Safer sex broadly, right? That's a really big topic though. So more specifically, we're going to talk about what safer sex is, why safer sex is important, and how we have safer sex. We're going to focus on things like abstinence, monogamy, getting tested, and using condoms. One really great thing about this video series that we're going to do is I'm going to have a video specifically dedicated to condoms, showing you how to put condoms on correctly. And so I think that's really, really important. That way you as a viewer, if you don't know how to put condoms on, you'll have a video that you can just click to. It'll be, just a few minutes long, and you can learn pretty quickly how to put condoms on. At the same time, if you don't feel comfortable talking to your children about how to put condoms on, there will be this video that you can just show your kids, hey, maybe you're going to start having sex soon. Here's this video. Check it out just so you know how to put condoms on correctly. And then you have like a little bit of a safe, feeling that your kids are being safe. They know how to put condoms on, things like that. I'm going to go through the different kinds of condoms too. So there's going to be a video for internal condoms, external condoms, and dental dams. So we're going to cover all of those to make sure that we know how to use them correctly. We also are going to talk about how to talk to your partner. So one of the really important things about safer sex is just the communication that you have between you and your partner to make sure that you guys got tested, to make sure that you guys are using condoms, to make sure that you are being monogamous if you want to be monogamous, or if you are polyamorous, to make sure you're taking precautions in those kind of situations. We're also going to be looking at data based on sex and sexuality and safer sex in New York State and the country in general. So let's talk about some of that right now. So in New York State, 30,000 teens between the ages of 15 and 19 get chlamydia every single year. That is just chlamydia. That is not gonorrhea, syphilis, HIV, and all the other ones. It is just chlamydia. That's a really, really high number of teenagers getting chlamydia every single year. About 25% of the people who get STIs every single year are teenagers too. In New York State, we also have a very high number of teens having sex before graduating high school. So in most of the country, the number of teens who have sex before graduating high school is about 50%. But in New York State, we have about 61% of teens reporting that they are having sex before graduating high school. Another great statistic about New York State is that a lot of parents and people in the state think that condoms should be available to students in the schools. And thankfully, a lot of schools are adopting condom policies. Buffalo Public Schools, for example, have a great condom policy. You go to your nurse, you ask them for condoms, they show you how to use them, and then they give you condoms. It's not a perfect system. Students are uncomfortable going to their nurses sometimes. Students don't always have like the tightest relationship with their nurses. So there could be probably a better system, but it's a great first step. Other schools I go to also have great condom policies. Most of the charter schools I go to have condom policies similar to Buffalo Public School condom policies, where you go to your nurse, the nurse shows you how to put a condom on, and then they will give you condoms. And that's really, really important. Having condoms having access to condoms is really, really important, especially when it comes to having safer sex and planning pregnancies. We also have a very high rate of STIs in Buffalo and the Western New York area. Erie County has the second highest rate of STIs in New York State. And so it's really, really important that we are having safer sex at all ages, not just teenagers, but if you're still having sex with people whose status you don't know, and you are 25, 30, whatever age, you got to make sure that we are having safer sex. In a recent Buffalo Public Schools survey, some really troubling maybe results came out. I don't know how to say troubling, but some results that show kids aren't always having the safest sex. So an increased number of teens said they weren't using condoms when they were having sex, which is kind of annoying because I go out to these schools, I teach kids about the importance of condoms and safer sex and all this other stuff, and it shows that kids just still aren't using them. And there's a lot of reasons behind it. I talked about this before in other videos that me and my coworkers, we can't do this alone. We can go to schools, we can teach kids about safer sex, but there's a whole culture around not having safe sex. There's a whole culture around not using condoms. There's a whole culture around how cool it is to like hit it raw and things like that. And so, we're fighting against this tidal wave of other people who are saying that it's cool to not use condoms. So one really big step to safer sex is just changing the community culture around having safer sex. Encouraging people, if you are having sex, to use condoms. Making sure it's not cool to use condoms, but it's just like what you do, right? You don't even think about not using them. It's just, oh, of course we're going to wear condoms. It's just what you do if you're having sex with someone whose status you don't know. It's also really important that we talk about teens, if they're heterosexual or if they're any sort of queer identified teens, that they're using birth control or some sort of pregnancy prevention methods if they're having sex that can cause pregnancy. A lot of teens are not using pregnancy prevention methods, and they don't even have access to pregnancy prevention methods. So it's really, really important we work with our teens to make sure that they're planning their pregnancies accordingly and not only getting pregnant when they want to get pregnant. We also have to talk to our teens and our adults about not drinking and doing drugs before having sex, because that affects your ability to have safer sex. If you're drunk and you're having sex with someone, you may not ask them about their status, you may not put a condom on or ask them to put a condom on, and you may do things that you just wouldn't have done if you weren't drunk or high. So these are all the sorts of things we're going to talk about. I'm going to try to keep these videos, again, kind of short, 5 to 10 minutes, and we're getting up to that 10-minute mark. So I'm going to end it there. The next video will be out probably tomorrow or the next day. We'll talk about some of these safer sex practices and methods. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be happy to reply to the questions in the next video, or if it's something really, really important, I'll reply to it right away. And I'll see you soon. Don't forget, like and subscribe so you get updates about these new video series, and you can keep checking them out. Have a good one, guys. Bye.